In the heart of Africa, where the sun meets the golden horizon and life teems in every direction, a story unlike any other was born, a story of courage, resilience, and the elusive balance between humanity and nature. The savannah was sweltering that day, the wind carrying the stench of dust, sweat, and blood. The sounds of birds of prey filled the air, and lions lay sprawling in the shade of trees after a long night's hunt. Everything seemed peaceful, until the African wildlife team received an urgent radio call. "There's an injured lioness, struggling to move near the dry riverbed, and there's a large object coiled around her. We believe it's a giant snake." This statement triggered a state of emergency within the camp. Attacks between snakes and lionesses are extremely rare, but when they occur, they are deadly. The team gathered their equipment with astonishing speed: medical kits, rescue tools, tranquilizer guns, and steel nets. They climbed into their four-wheel drive vehicle and set off through the dust and dense undergrowth, the sun piercing their hardened faces, their eyes fearless. At the head of the team stood Captain Marcus Nadia, a man who had spent more than 20 years protecting wildlife. His colleagues said he had a heart stronger than a lion's jaws, but more tender than a bird's wing when he saw a creature in pain. As the vehicle cut through the tall grass, the sounds became clearer. A muffled roar, a heavy scraping like rocks. The team stopped abruptly. Just meters away, the scene was like a scene from hell. A huge lioness, once in her prime, now lay on her side, a massive, clay-green snake coiled around her, its thick body pressing down on her ribs with enough force to crush the bones of a small elephant. The lioness's eyes were wide with pain, her tongue lolling out as she gasped for one last breath. "If we're 1 minute late, she'll die," one of the members shouted. Marcus quickly began planning. "Lucas, take the metal hook and grab its tail. Anna, cover its head with the black cloth. Sam, get the backup tranquilizer ready." The next moment was pure madness. Lucas lunged at the snake, trying to pull its tail with all his might, while Marcus lunged at its midsection to prevent it from constricting the lioness. But the snake was no easy prey, a confident fighter. It let out a low, terrifying hiss and began to coil around Lucas's arm, trying to strangle him just as it had strangled the lioness. Lucas fell to the ground, nearly unconscious from the pressure. Marcus intervened at the critical moment, using the metal rescue pole to strike the snake on the back of the head, loosening its grip slightly. In those seconds, Anna swiftly crept to the snake's head and covered its eyes with the cloth. The beast lay still for a brief moment, then began to thrash violently, thumping its tail as if refusing to surrender. Sam seized the opportunity and fired a tranquilizer dart precisely into its thick body. Within minutes, its movements gradually subsided until it lay motionless. The team approached the lioness, who was panting, her eyes half closed. Her body was covered in blood, and her ribs bore the marks of a crushing pressure. It was clear she had fought with all her might, but she was nearing the end. "She's still alive, but we need to move her immediately," Anna said, her voice trembling. The lioness was placed on a metal stretcher and secured with a safety harness, while Marcus watched the sleeping snake with watchful eyes. The beast was over 7 meters long, almost like a mythical creature emerging from the shadows of antiquity. As they returned to camp, the roars of lions could be heard in the distance. It was as if the entire pride had been anxiously awaiting the fate of their mate. At the rescue center, another battle began, this time against death. The veterinarians placed the lioness on the operating table, removed the dirt and blood, and began administering fluids and anti-shock medication. Her breathing was ragged, as if she were suspended between two worlds. "She's a real fighter," the veterinarian said, wiping the sweat from his brow. "Her heart is still strong." The night stretched on endlessly. The team sat around her, silently monitoring her pulse. Then, as dawn broke, the lioness slowly opened her eyes, let out a soft growl, and settled down. Savara, as they called her, had returned from the brink of death. After a few days, she had fully recovered. On a sunny morning, the team decided to release her back into the wild. The lioness stood at the edge of the savanna, glanced at them for a moment as if in silent thanks, and then strode steadily toward the horizon where her pride and cubs awaited her. The snake was released back into a remote area, far from predators, to maintain the natural balance. The story went viral, and the footage was turned into videos that garnered millions of views. People were amazed by the sight of human compassion meeting the harshness of nature in a single moment. One commenter wrote, "I've never seen a scene that so beautifully portrays courage. These aren't just rescuers. They're heroes of a different kind." At the end of the documentary, Marcus said to the camera, his voice trembling, "We're not just protecting animals. We're protecting life itself. Every time we save a creature, we feel like we're keeping the planet alive." Then came the final shot. Savara, a lioness, walked through the tall grass. The wind swirled through her golden mane as soft music played, and the narrator said, "In a world ruled by instinct, compassion remains the greatest power known to humankind."